What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Mike Rock Uncensored. If you are enjoying the content and want to see more of it, you can do one of two favors for me, or you can do both. You can hit the like, follow, and subscribe button so that you can receive all the latest updates as soon as I get them uploaded, or consider buying me a cup of coffee every now and then when you see something that help to educate you or help to bring you up to speed on what's going on. I am 100% community funded other than having my own job. So you supporting me in any way possible, whether it's helping me to grow the stream or helping me to fund these videos that I bring to you, goes a really long way for helping me to continue what I love to do, which is speaking the truth, sharing my opinions, and getting people to open up their minds to the fact that the government, above all else, is duping us as a people. So something has been bothering me with this whole Trump trial. I don't think anybody, Democrats or Republicans, truly believe that Trump is guilty or will be found guilty based on the evidence that they have. Now, whether Trump is actually guilty of something is very different from whether they have the evidence to prove it in this case. And I don't think anybody actually believes that they do. The problem though is, and I've been like, again, it's just been eating away at me ever since the defense rested, and everybody is still under the opinion that there's no way in hell that the Democrats and this corrupt judge or whoever he is will be able to find this man guilty. And I had to ask myself, if that were true, why are they still pursuing it? Why are the prosecutors risking their own careers? Why is this judge intentionally doing everything he can for the prosecution? I just, something doesn't sit right. And we all know what that is. The Democrats need to convict Trump of something because they cannot beat him in an open and fair election. And I'm going to do future videos on some other things that are kind of pissing me off about the Republican Party in regards to the election itself, whether it's Trump or another candidate or whatever. It's just the election process itself. But right now, we're just dealing with this. And I'm not saying that I guessed this, but I did ask in X space. I asked a group of conservatives. Actually, they're open to anybody sharing their opinions, and I really appreciate the fact that they have that space. But I asked them, "What's the backup plan?" Because for me, I always believe that when you have when you're strategically trying to win anything, that you have to hope for the best, but you need to prepare for the worst. And so I asked them, "What's the backup plan?" We all know that Trump should not be found guilty, but we also know that Trump should have never been in trial in the first place, but he is. So in the event that the Democrats are able to cheat, and in the event that the judge is able to instruct the jury with inappropriate instructions and it causes them to vote against Trump, what's the backup plan? And they said that there is no backup plan. And I think that's part of what the Democrats are hoping for, that we don't have a backup plan. We're not willing to admit, we're so naive that we're not willing to admit that we might just need one. Not because Trump is guilty, but because of the dirty pool that we know the Democrat Party is playing. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do, go to the fallingofminneapolis.com .com, sorry, and watch that video on what happened to the cops that were convicted in the murder of George Floyd. Just I'm not even going to give you my opinions on what happened right now. It's too much to talk about. Go watch the video for yourself. Look at how those cops were railroaded because of political agendas, jury instructions, and things like that. And you'll understand where I'm coming from when it comes to Trump. The Democrats are willing to do absolutely anything and everything that they can to make sure that they don't even have to compete with Trump come election time. So again, something was bothering me. And then it started to hit me. Two and two started to add up. So Trump's attorney concerned the jury instructions could be biased toward prosecution. Zero confidence in this judge. She goes on, and we're not gonna watch that video right now, but she goes on to say that Trump attorney Trump attorney Alina Habba I hope I'm saying her name right. I always murder people's name. Said she has zero confidence that the jury will who will determine the outcome in the former president's New York trial will be given instructions in an appropriate manner, telling Fox News on Sunday that she's concerned the judge could deliver instructions that are biased in the prosecution's favor. This judge is the judge that determines the jury instructions. The jury instructions are the roadmap for non attorneys and jurors to follow the law. It's going to be critical, and frankly, at this point, I have zero confidence in the fact that this person who should not be sitting on the bench right now will do the right thing and give jury instructions that are in an appropriate manner without any persuasion towards the prosecution. So I read that and I was like, you know what? That makes sense. Now, whether the jury thinks that he's guilty or not, if they're given improper jury instructions and they are forced to make a decision based on improper jury instructions, they could then be forced to find Trump guilty, not because he is, but because they had no other choice. What is the point in having a jury trial if you bias the jury, if you remove the jury's ability to do their jobs with all of the information that is supposed to be available? This is not an innocent until proven guilty trial. This is a guilty. He needs to be guilty, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure he's not innocent trial. That's what's going on right now. So because I saw this article, I decided to look and see if there was anything else on the information. And I find out that 5 days prior to this article being written, I found that there was this one. The judge to convict Trump of felonies, jury does not need to unanimously agree what predicate crime he committed. To find Trump guilty of felony level falsification of business documents, the jury must unanimously find that Trump falsified the documents in order to commit or conceal a separate crime. But the jurors do not all have to agree on what that separate crime was. And this was by order of the judge. I'm tell you what's wrong with that. What this judge just did was instructed the jury to, let me backtrack. In order for them to find him guilty of the felony level falsification of business documents, they all have to agree that he did. But in order to find him guilty of felony level falsification of business documents, there's got to be another crime in place in order to justify it. Now, what the judge is saying is that the jury doesn't have to all decide that a predicate, this other crime, they don't all have to decide that this was the crime that he committed in order to find him guilty of this other crime. They can all have their own reason, is what the judge is saying. They can all have their own reason to say he is guilty of this, so he must be guilty of that. If that's not setting up the jury to find Trump guilty, like I said, I don't know what is. And here's the other thing. And again, I will keep saying this over and over again because I am, number one, I'm really tired of our government as a whole. If you really look back at the history of our government that is in place, it is a history of old people who have been in office way too long, for decades. I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats. I'm talking about, and allegedly, I believe that a lot of these people could be on that Epstein list. They're all protecting each other. They all need to go. That's the reason why nothing is getting done, is because they all have dirt on each other. The reason why, and when you take into consideration that our government is 100% corrupt, the reason why they hate Trump is because he is not one of them. Is he guilty of something? Is he chauvinistic? Is he a womanizer? I don't know, but he's not one of them. And that's the reason why they have done everything in their power to make you hate that man successfully, even though there's no evidence to support things like whether he's racist or not, or whether he's guilty of these crimes or not. They have done everything in their power to get you to pay more attention to him than the corrupt shit that they're doing in office right now. And this is no exception. They can't beat him in the election, so they're doing things to cheat their way into office. They don't believe that once they get Trump out of the way, they don't believe that there's anyone else that can represent the Republican Party and beat Biden in a true and fair election. I think it's again really naive of the Republican Party to or anyone in the Republican Party to say we don't need a backup plan. Trump is going to win. Trump would win if this was a fair trial, but I don't think this is a fair trial at all. Anyways, man, that's just my food for thought. Again, like I keep telling people, man, I am so frustrated with both parties, with the Democratic Party and the Republicans. And it just so happens for me, it isn't so much about being a conservative and a Republican, it's more about being on the side of right and wrong. And I truly believe in my heart that my right aligns with their right. And that's the reason why I am voting on the side of Trump. Again, at the end of the day, it's about what we as a people need. The government is supposed to represent us, and they are not doing that. They are feeding us breadcrumbs. Dude, the liberals are so gullible. They'll take those breadcrumbs and they'll give them everything that they want just so that they can have that little breadcrumb. When in reality, we as a people need to be coming together and putting all the nonsense aside. And, despite all the lies that are being told, despite the resentment that each side has because they can't come to an agreement, we need to put our differences to the side on the smaller things so that we can get bigger things done in our own governments to remind the government that they are not in charge. We are. I gotta go, man. Like I said, this has really been bugging me. I had to actually get up out of bed and do this video for you guys. I hope you guys can appreciate the content, at least the sharing of my opinion. You are more than welcome to share yours with me as well in the comment section. Just don't be an idiot, man. You got people that have no common sense. All they can do is ridicule people, insult people because they don't have valid arguments to back up anything that they believe. Don't be that dude. Don't be that girl. Just lady, woman. Don't be that person. Just like either like it, dislike it, share your comments. If you want to have a discussion, let's do that. Who knows? Maybe you can be the subject or the topic of my next conversation. You guys have a great rest of your night. We'll see you guys again in the next video. Be safe and peace out.